iOS 16 is here, the software that the next iPhone 14 is going to release with. So, these are my top 10 new features, right here from Apple HQ, the place where they were thought of. Number 10 being properly live wallpapers. Sort of. You still can't get full moving video wallpapers like you can on Android, but you do now get wallpapers that animate as you transition between the lock screen and the home screen. It is pretty much a one-to-one of a feature that Xiaomi has had for years now, but still, it does add a much needed touch of life to the iPhone. And that brings me on to number 9, the new Wallpaper Gallery. So you know how right now, if you want to find new wallpapers all the time, pretty much your only option is to head onto the App Store and download one of those free wallpaper apps that serves you an ad every single time you click a button. Well, Apple is now trying to bring this feature internally. So now, when you go to choose a new wallpaper, your phone will serve you a combination of both new wallpapers that it thinks you'll like, and also photos you've already taken that it thinks are a good fit. Oh yeah, and also, I kind of like this because I get bored on my home screen easily, you can now set it to shuffle. So every single time you check your iPhone's lock screen, there is a new wallpaper automatically applied. Messages has also had an upgrade, a very simple upgrade, but one that will probably affect quite a lot of people. You can now edit messages after you've sent them, in case, let's say, you spell a word wrong. You can undo messages, and you can also mark a message thread as unread. But this is where it gets juicy, because more important than wallpapers and messages is how iOS 16 manages to improve the general intelligence of iPhones. So you might know that right now, when you take a photo on an iPhone, you can interact with the text in that photo. But with the new iOS, you can also pause any video and interact with the text within any frame. You've got new quick actions in the camera, which let you convert currencies and translate text in real time. Plus, I think this is even cooler, a feature called Visual Lookup. It lets you touch and hold the subject of a photo, let's say your dog, and then instantly it can strip out the subject, separating it from the background to be able to paste that subject into other apps, let's say messages. And finally, Dictation is now more intelligent. When you're using speech to text on your iPhone, it'll now automatically add in punctuation and somehow even emojis. Okay, let's talk about sharing, because I really get the impression that sharing is the thing that Apple is trying to double down on right now. So first up is photo sharing, which is trying to address the very real problem of each member of a family or friendship group having their own set of photos that they've taken, but never the full set of photos that everyone's taken. So iOS 16 now creates a shared iCloud photo library with up to 5 people. And you can set the rules that dictate what gets shared to that folder, like for example, the location that a photo was taken in or who is actually in that shot. And even within the camera app, you now have an option to shoot photos directly to a shared iCloud library. It's very convenient, but I do also feel like there's a high likelihood of accidentally sharing something that you did not want to share. Sharing is not always caring. There is also a lot more emphasis on sharing things via the Messages app. So, for example, you know SharePlay, the ability to watch movies or go on apps together at the same time with your friends? You can now jump into SharePlay apps directly from Messages. Oh yeah, and as well as ways to extend the amount that you share, Apple is also trying to allow you to reduce the amount with something that they're calling Safety Check, which is made for sufferers of abusive relationships to be able to really quickly stop sharing your location, to be able to reset your privacy settings, and also to sign out of iCloud and Apple Messages on all your devices except the one you're using. This is very smart. But number 5 seems like kind of a huge deal, and it's to do with Apple Pay. Now, one new thing coming is that you're very soon going to be able to tap 2 iPhones together, and just with that, transfer money from one user to another user. That's pretty cool already. But then something I think is absolutely enormous is a feature that they're calling Apple Pay Later. It basically lets you, when you're about to buy a product using Apple Pay, to split that payment up into 4 separate chunks with 0 interest and no fees. So at the point where you're buying something, Apple pays the full amount of that purchase to the company, and then over the course of the next 6 weeks, takes back that amount bit by bit from your account. It's almost like Apple's becoming a bank. And related to that, they're also lasering in on expanding the Apple Wallet. You can kind of tell that the end goal here, what Apple's trying to achieve with iOS, is to effectively replace your actual wallet. So for example, right now, they're working with various states and cities to try to make your Apple Wallet hold your driving license. Plus, your keys. Your Apple Wallet can now hold your hotel keys, your office keys, your home keys. And just like with a physical key that you could, take out of your wallet and hand over to someone else, you can now just send someone one of your virtual keys through Apple Messages. Can you imagine if you sent them to the wrong contact though? Okay, the new Apple Maps is also kind of exciting. Now, just to give you a little bit of context, I'm pretty much mostly a Google Maps user. I quite like how it's not focused on being ultimately streamlined and instead just focuses on getting as many features in as possible. But there is enough new stuff coming to Apple Maps that I'm pretty keen to give it another go. There's an upgraded 3D view, which highlights buildings with better elevation and improved detail. And to be fair, on the demos they showed us, this looks insane, with even a different aesthetic depending on whether your phone is set to light mode or dark mode. But I think I do need to see how it looks in the more day-to-day, more normal rural scenarios to come to a conclusion. But there's more. You can now plan a route with up to 15 different stops in advance. You can plan that route on your Mac and then send it straight to your iPhone, which is actually something that I would use. It will save me the couple of minutes that it takes to re-enter it on my phone. Plus, you can also see the fares and actually make the payment for those fares of any public transport within the Apple Maps app. One of the things that I'm most excited about though is how iOS 16 handles notifications. And I think the key thing it's trying to do is reduce that feeling of spam. So for starters, notifications now come up from the bottom of your lock screen instead of near the top. But then also, I imagine I'm not the only one who has a couple of apps that try to ping me like 10 different times per day. You get this a lot if you use sporting apps. They'll give you a new notification literally anytime even the most minor thing happens. So, iOS 16 separates them. It puts these activity-based notifications into a separate live activities section. It makes them more compact, and it allows you to set them so that they don't bug you in the same way that notifications that actually require your attention need to. But I would say the most significant change in iOS 16 is the lock screen. It's taken its sweet time, but finally, we have proper lock screen customization. You press and hold on your screen and it takes you to the editor mode. It's a very Apple experience. Like, it's definitely somewhat controlled. Like, you can't change the core format of the screen, and you still can't move around the camera icon or the flashlight icon, but in traditional Apple style, it does make the customization very easy. Like, with one swipe, you can change the color filter applied to the wallpaper, you can change the text font, you can change the text color. And then, if you don't love the automatic settings that Apple's chosen for you, you can tap on any individual element to have a fiddle yourself. Your phone can detect the multiple different layers within a portrait mode shot that you've taken and sandwich the clock between them. There's a new look to music with bigger album art, plus widgets. In iOS 14, Apple introduced widgets on the home screen, and now in iOS 16, you get widgets on the lock screen. And they're not just the same widgets repurposed, they're brand new and they're custom made to fit better. And also, you can now have one lock screen for when you're at work, with your work notifications, your work wallpaper, and your work widgets, and then with one swipe, you can switch to your personal ones. A lot of these features are not new to smartphones, but the fact that they've been made easy here means that I think a lot more people are about to start using them. Okay, subscribe if you want to see a really cool collab that I'm about to go and film now, and I'll catch you there.